Negotiations between the Afghan government and the Taliban to end the war are underway. So how seriously should we take these talks? Welcome to Agenda with George Friedman. George, are the Americans involved and what are the base positions?
Well, let me begin by saying I'm sorry that we continually cover Afghanistan and Pakistan, but we cover what's important, and this is really important now. The negotiations that are going on between the Karzai government and Taliban are obviously with the knowledge of the United States, and in all likelihood with the full support of the United States. The Petraeus plan in Iraq consisted of surging troops and then negotiating with the Sunnis. The same plan is being implemented in Afghanistan, and that means at some point you want negotiations with the Taliban. The Taliban is unlikely to want to negotiate directly with the United States. Hamid Karzai is a perfect intermediary between the two, and I think it's very clear these are U.S.-Taliban negotiations, not simply Karzai-Taliban negotiations.
Does the fact that these talks are going on indicate that the Petraeus surge is actually working?
The surge has achieved getting the Taliban to the table again. Remember, there were negotiations last time as well. But it's not clear that the Taliban is at the table right now because they're frightened of the surge, or in effect because they are ready to take the surrender. That overstates it. That's not what they're doing. But they may be at the table with Karzai, saying to Karzai personally, look, you've got two choices. Either reach an accommodation with us now and stay in the government, and perhaps stay alive, or be removed in due course. So the Taliban may well want these negotiations, not because they're under tremendous pressure, as Washington has implied, but because they're feeling pretty good, they're feeling strong, and think that this is the time to make that move. Certainly, given the ongoing blockade in Pakistan, they should feel pretty good. They see the rift developing between the United States and Pakistan. I think they're looking at this as the time to talk because the other side is weak.
There was a sign, wasn't there, back in July when the Taliban said that if they were brought into the government, then they would make sure that the government didn't support jihadist activity in Afghanistan.
I think it's very clear, and Taliban knows, that the United States cannot agree to anything that doesn't include a pledge to keep jihadist groups out. Secondly, I think the Taliban may be a bit jaded about jihadist groups. They have spent the past 9 years in the boondocks instead of in the capital because the jihadists, and many of them may have had some second thoughts that they can be more effective running Afghanistan than playing host to Osama bin Laden. But of course, the third point is that, look, whatever they promise, it doesn't mean anything. And the United States knows it. They can make any guarantees they want and then break them. The United States is not going to re-intervene. So in a sense, it's the sort of concession Taliban can make, whether they intend to carry it out or not.
Are there any signs at all that Mullah Omar and his cohorts are prepared to accept some of the Obama conditions, such as, for example, an end to all violence and supporting the Afghanistan constitution, which provides for equal rights for women?
I don't think that Taliban is going to accept those, and I don't think the United States really expects them to. Again, the real question that has to be asked here, is this Taliban under pressure coming to the negotiating table, or is this the United States under pressure coming to the negotiating table? They may both be under pressure, but the point is that I don't think Taliban is coming to the table to capitulate. They are coming to the table possibly to accept some sort of significant concessions from the United States, possibly to make some in return, but the American demands are non-starters. I think the Taliban will remain in the field fighting under those terms. And I think the real proposals on the table that Karzai is projecting, I think you'll find have very few of these preconditions there.
The Haqqani network doesn't seem to be involved in these talks. Could you have a solution? Could you have a peace agreement without them being involved?
There can always be a deal without the Haqqani, but will it have enough meaning? And then you have to ask the question, what does everybody want? The United States wants to get out of Afghanistan without a regional political catastrophe. They want cover for it. I mean, it's very clear that Obama wants that. Taliban wants to return to power. Karzai wants to share in that power and at least stay alive if he can. So when you look at all of this, the American desire is not so much the demands I think they've placed on the table or concern about the Haqqani or anything else. The United States has said it's going to start withdrawing in 2011. It is looking for an agreement, perhaps not unlike the Vietnam Agreement, that gives them a decent interval to leave and not lose face and not create a regional instability. So I think, again, the Americans are trying to project this as Taliban weakness. There may be an element of that, but there is also, never forget, the American withdrawal that's planned for 2011.
George, thank you. And thanks also to our members for watching Agenda with George Friedman.